Linda Savita from ShowHomes. We're actually going to see Kevin O'Leary speak in a few weeks, and our buddy Barbara Corcoran, who you'll hear her during the show with a commercial. And if you've watched us on CNBC's, we run commercials during Shark Tank and The Profit. One of the things about her business before she sold it, we've heard the story because we've gone to, we've met her and we did the filming and all this kind of stuff, and she told a story about her selling her business for $66 million. But one of the ways she built her business and differentiated herself was she really pushed staging, especially in New York, because she thought, hey, look, I'm selling an 800 square foot condo that I have to sell for $2 million. How am I going to convince someone that small of a space is worth $2 million? So staging became a crucial part of our business. And obviously some stagers are different than others, but you guys are now offering, in addition to the staging side of it, some improvements to the property as part of your staging process, which I think is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's actually a whole new feature that we have just rolling out right now, January 2015. So it's not going to be limited to just talking about staging your home. We can do pre-listing consultations, post-listing troubleshoot why isn't sold, and it's going to be in painting, flooring, could be landscaping, cleaning processes. So it's just a much bigger one-stop shop to kind of get your house ready to sell.
And I think, and again, showhomestampa.com, and we'll put their link on our social, on our Facebook fan page as well. But, one of the things that I saw an article about, and obviously this is something, you guys getting into the interior space, there was a study out this week that said small exterior upgrades were the best return on investment. Obviously, you guys may not do some of that, but you're going to know people. You're going to know what to tell them to do. Yes. And I think that's really the key. A lot of times consumers don't have the vision to look past what the issue is with their home. They need someone else. And quite honestly, a lot of times they want to rely on us, and we aren't always the perfect person to answer their question about that, which is why we rely on you guys a lot to go out and provide a consult. But here's a list of some of the things that they listed out are cost recouped. Now here's the funny part. This is the top 10 in terms of the cost recouped. None of these recouped 100% of their costs. So keep in mind, these things aren't necessarily going to give you a dollar for dollar return. They're meant to help increase the sale price, increase the sellability, sell your home faster, or increase the certainty of sale. Manufactured stone veneer, 92.2%. Garage door replacement, 88%. Siding replacement, 84%. Vinyl siding replacement. Wood desk addition, or wood deck addition, not a wood desk. You're not really looking to put a wood desk with the home. A wood deck addition. Minor kitchen remodel, 80%, and then wood window replacement and foam back vinyl siding replacement, 78%. So again, most of the exterior upgrades, I'm always a big fan of the landscaping side of things. I think people far too often don't do enough of that. They need some curb appeal. They need the grass looking green. They need fresh mulch. They need some nice little plants out front. And they don't have to break the bank with it, right? I mean, it can be something simple.
Yeah, you can do some really minor cosmetic things that's super affordable and reasonable, and they just make a huge impact. And hey, remind people at the end of the day, it's all about presentation. That's what's going to get that buyer focused on their house versus a house down the street.
And I think it's also knowing your competition, looking at the homes that are on the market and figuring out what your weakness is and hoping to use staging to help overcome that weakness. If you've got a weird floor plan, or, if your home doesn't, we had one recently where home was on the water, but it barely took advantage of the view, and we had to figure out a way to get the staging to get people to look at that side of things, And I think that there are a lot of scenarios where you're constantly looking at the market and kind of knowing what's going on with the inventory. But at the same time, you have to look at the home from the buyer's perspective. So it's an emotional thing, and the buyer falling in love with the home. I tell the story that, a lot of realtors and even consumers will expect us to want to, when we sell a home, spew a bunch of facts at people. Like, oh, it's got this and this and this and this. That's not going to sell the home. No one's going to get excited about facts. They get excited about the emotional appeal. I compare it to falling in love with my wife. I didn't fall in love with her resume. Yes. She didn't send me the resume, and I go, oh, I love and love. It wasn't that. It started with a
maybe the other way around too.
Yeah. Maybe I sent her my resume. Maybe that's what worked.
I got to change up my dating routine.
But in reality, though, that's the truth. They fall in love with the home, and there's an aesthetic appeal. There's a look to the home. There's an emotional attachment before you even know any of the facts. So you're the consumer that wants us to walk around the house and be like, I have this oven, and I have this kitchen, and I have this in my, I got this kind of a of a fireplace. It doesn't work. All that's actually turning the consumer off completely because they don't have a chance to quote unquote fall in love. They need to be able to walk into the home and kind of feel, experience, love the home. Then the facts can kind of support your case for them considering moving forward. But they're not going to fall in love if you spew a bunch of facts at them.
No, and I'll tell you, I'll add something to that, is what staging also does is especially for older homes who do have those dated, kind of flawed areas, staging actually minimizes it, kind of softens that up so buyers don't see it when it's staged. And if they fall in love with the home, they've got their rose-colored glasses on, those things aren't so important anymore as if it's not staged.
That's a good point, because I think, again, it helps them look at the true vision for the home and look past those little things that they can change later on. And I think that's, again, there are lots of things, a consumer, when they buy a home, they're going to change a lot of stuff anyway. Mm-hmm. So you want to get them to look at all the positives of the property and again, have that emotional attachment. Now, it's another one when, the owner wants to be there, or they want the realtor to be there. There's a lot of times that's challenging, too, because it's the same thing. It's kind of like, the first time you wanted to fall in love with your wife if there was a tag-along.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, that's what it's like. It's like, are you really going to get excited and emotionally attached to this thing if there's somebody, over your shoulder talking to you about, oh, here's the kitchen, and here's the kind of appliances we have. It doesn't work. It turns the consumer off. It makes them feel uncomfortable, like they're intruding on your time and space, and they don't get too emotionally attached. So we're going to continue this conversation. We're going to talk with Arnie Diaz from Waterstone Mortgage, Linda Savita from ShowHomes. We're also going to take your questions. If you have questions about anything we're talking about, 990-9352 in Hillsborough and 461-9352 in Pinellas. We'll be right back after a quick break on the Duncan Duo Show.